Welcome back. Dr. John Hovannisian is here today, and we're talking about, in fact, I was going to pronounce this, but now that I see a camera
Yes,
inlay,
just
and people, yeah, and that's what I think people might have said, he's talking about a camera in your eyes? Well, is this Star Trek? Maybe. But actually, this is spelled with a K. So tell me what this is all about, and it's to improve reading vision, right? Which I need, I don't know.
Yes, you are among us.
Yes.
Anybody who's over 40, most of our audience today knows what it's like to have the ability to read without glasses and then lose it in our mid-40s.
Yes. Yeah,
and then that's one of the most frustrating things we go through in life, right? And one of the most exciting opportunities and innovations now is a 5-minute procedure that can give it back to us forever. And that's kind of what this camera inlay is. It's a device that was recently approved by the FDA, and it's been under study for a number of years, and it's been approved in other countries for a number of years, that is now available here as well. And this is just one technology. There are others, but it's designed to address the problem that comes, when we're in our 40s and we start to hold things further away and we can't quite read, and we need longer arms or we need to put on reading glasses. And this problem is something that plagues most of us. Now, the exception is some people will say, wait a second, I never needed reading glasses because I could always take my glasses off and read beautifully. Well, those people are, by definition, nearsighted.
Yes.
And of course, what they have is reading vision without glasses, but what they lack is distance vision. Those people need to wear glasses or contacts to see far away.
Right. Question I have for this is, who is this for? Because I think I was, if you recall, I think this is the study that I might have been a part of, in that I came in and it turns out that I was not a candidate for it, at least back then. Basically what you folks gave me is a single contact in my weaker eye, the left eye, I believe.
Yeah.
And you said, don't use your reading glasses for the next week, however long it was, 2 weeks. And when I came back in, I said, you know what, I still needed my reading glasses. Not as strong, but I still needed them. And I forget the reasonings, but at that point, your folks said, Ken, you're probably not a candidate for this. So explain how this works and why maybe I wasn't a candidate. Maybe I am now, but.
Well, so when you came in, it was for part of a study, an FDA study, in which we were only treating people who did not need other correction in their eyes, who didn't have astigmatism or didn't have other issues with their eyes. And so in that study, we could not enroll an awful lot of people. But now that this device is approved, we can combine it with LASIK or combine it with other treatments, so we can take folks like you and correct other problems with the eye, and then on top of that, correct their reading vision. So things are really not much more complicated to treat you now, even though we couldn't then, but you probably would be a candidate for this.
Okay.
So the people who are candidates are folks just like you who are older than, let's say, 45.
Yes.
who need some type of correction for up close. And there are other people who have the same situation who are 65, who have had cataract surgery in both eyes. And they too can be candidates for this now. Even if you've had cataract surgery, and if you've got good distance vision, but you'd like now to be able to read without glasses, we can consider treating you with this technology and hopefully eliminate the need for reading glasses, which is pretty exciting.
It is. And one of the things I remember you guys asked me is that when you put on reading glasses, can you watch, does your TV look blurry or not? And I said at the time, well, a few years ago, yes, I had to take my reading glasses off to look anywhere because everything would be blurry.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I can see across the room, and of course, your specialists there determine, you have astigmatism or this or that. So,
so there's a great example of what it is to be farsighted.
Yeah.
Now, this is the opposite of nearsighted.
I'm getting both now, probably.
You're getting both? Well, what happens when we're farsighted is when we're kids, we have the best vision of anybody on the block. We can see everything far and near without glasses. When we get into our 40s, we start to need reading glasses maybe a little earlier than our friends did. And then in our late 40s, our 50s, we begin to need glasses even for distance vision.
Right.
And that's because when we're farsighted, our eyes need to strain just a little bit to see far away, and they need to strain even more to see up close. And we lose that ability to strain as we have more birthdays. And so what's happened to you is that more and more you're losing that ability. Now, one other thing we should mention is a very old idea that Ronald Reagan did. I don't know if you remember, in his day, he would read from a script or a speech. He would read a teleprompter. He'd recognize people in the audience. He was the great communicator, right? He never wore glasses to do it, even though he was 70 when he was president. What did Ronald Reagan do? Something called monovision. And he didn't need cataract surgery when he was president, but he wore a contact lens in one eye to simulate what you had. That's one eye for up close, and that's one eye for distance vision. And that's an old idea that still works very, very well. We do that for lots of our patients. Now, the implant, we'll come back to that in a second, but the implant is not monovision. It's not the same thing as one eye near and one eye far.
Okay. That kind of reminds me of the old, you look at an old Hollywood movie and somebody has the monocle in, right? It was probably used for that reason.
Yes.
So,
it's a great look, too, by the way. Monocles are coming back. And there's a company now.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding you. There's a company now that is trying to make them fashionable again and selling monocles. And so if you want to have that, I think the biggest problem with monocles was Colonel Klink.
Yes.
Remember?
Yeah.
Right? He was the bumbling villain, comedic villain on Hogan's Heroes who wore a monocle, and nobody wanted to be like him.
No.
So I think that did it in for monocles for a whole generation, but they're coming back.
That's wow, that's fascinating. Along with everything else, right? Is this the device here?
Yes, so the device itself in the camera inlay, and again, this is not the only device of its kind, but the camera inlay is a small, dark device that goes in the front of the eye. Now here, when you look at it from a very side angle, you can see it. But in most of the time, this sits in front of the pupil, and so it's invisible.
Okay.
And for some people with very light-colored eyes, if viewed from the side, there's a little visible ring that's in the cornea. In normal conversation, you wouldn't notice it when you're talking with someone, but if you look closely, you might. And now other devices are clear and they don't look like this, but this one, the one that's approved now, is this type of design. And it works very well, preserving distance vision, but giving up-close vision.
Okay, both eyes would get this or just one?
Great question. It's really typically one eye.
Okay.
Typically just one eye, the non-dominant eye in your case, and in most of our cases it's the left eye.
Yeah, that's, I wonder why. Is there a reason for that?
Well, just as most of us, about I think it's 75% of us or more are right-handed, most of us are right eye dominant. It's just the way our brains typically develop.
Yeah, I remember the old tests we used to do in school where you point to a corner and you close one eye, and when your finger lines up to that corner, you know what dominant you were.
That's right. And here's another way: if you pick, say, a light switch across the room, and you kind of aim, you make a circle with your hands like this over the light switch, and then you close one eye, and if it's still there, then you know that you're looking with your dominant eye. If you open both eyes and you and still see it, that's your dominant eye that's doing that. So
this implant here, once you get that, how long does that last and that our vision changes?
One of the really neat things about this type of implant for a young person is that it's a lifelong benefit. That's a great question you bring up, because people wonder, if I have LASIK, will it wear out? If I have another procedure, will I lose it? Will it lose its effect? What happens with an implant like this is that it gives us reading vision at a young age, and then even in the future, if we have not had cataract surgery, we can still undergo cataract surgery in the normal way, and it will still give us reading vision afterwards. In fact, we won't need a complicated or fancy lens implant when we have that cataract surgery, because we've got a built-in device that stays with us after cataract surgery. Yeah, it's not removed as part of cataract surgery, that will continue to provide that benefit. So, for me as a younger person thinking of losing my reading vision, wanting to have a lifelong solution, a corneal implant like this is a particularly attractive option.
And your brain compensates for just having that on your less dominant eye.
There are a few people who have these implants in both eyes, but the best success has been with implanting it in one eye.
Okay.
So there's definitely some testing we do to see what's the best option. Yeah. We don't just go and put this in and then figure out if it was a good idea. We want to make sure that this lifelong solution is really going to help our patients. And so we go through a lot of homework in advance to get it right. One of our basic principles is the same principle that carpenters use.
Yes.
They say measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
We measure about 50 times before we cut once.
Right, the old Norm Abram
That's right.
mantra.
That's right.
That is great. It's something maybe I'll look into
Great.
sometime, because I would love to get rid of these. As I've told you before, I got a pair here, a pair in my car, a pair. Now whenever I get out of my car, whether it's going into Lowe's to look for some hardware or going into a restaurant, I grab these cheap little reading glasses, and it's not the cost of them,
Yeah.
it's the hassle. Oh, I
Right.
walked in the restaurant, where my I got to run back to the car.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Having them with you all the time is half the battle, and that's
Yeah.
There's another old saying that that technology reaches its best when it becomes invisible.
Yeah.
Right. When we don't think about it, like an airbag
Exactly.
in your car, you don't
Yeah.
think about it until you need it, and then it helps you. Right. And this is the same kind of thing. You don't think about it; it's just there, and it helps you see all the time. So it's
All
pretty
right.
exciting stuff.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on today.
My pleasure.
This was
And-
really cool.
Yeah, and no charge for this consultation.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And you got a great staff over there at Harvard Eye, and it's great to have you guys on. It really is. This is cool, though. This is neat.
There's lots of exciting new stuff.
All right. Take care. We'll see you again, and we'll
forward
be
to
right back.